Excuse me, sir. You're sitting in my seat?
Yeah, seats in there for us.
Well, somebody ought to teach you some manners, sir.
Oh, yeah? Well, maybe I'll learn some by listening to episode 323 of the Retro Rewind podcast.
Man, this is going to be good.
Retro Systems Online. Reflux capacitor fluxing. Scanning room space-time for Superman 2, 1980. Rewinding in 3, 2, 1.
Welcome, Rewinders and new listeners, to the Retro Rewind podcast, where we take a fresh look at movies and games from 15 or more years ago. I'm your captain of the pod, Francisco Ruiz, and I'm joined by your XO and mine, Paul, the Not the Adams Family Values, PaulJPowers.com Powers.
Mega high!
That's a Mega Man from Captain N, the Game Master, right?
Hey, you got it!
But what does that have to do with Superman, Paul?
You're so glad you got it this time.
And that has to do with what? With Superman?
I don't know.
Oh.
It's Super Games played on the Super Nintendo?
Well, technically the Mega Mans were on the Nintendo. But anyway, regardless of that, also for this discussion of the film Superman 2, we welcome back aboard Archives Officer of the Pod, Drew Dodgen. Hey, Drew.
Kneel before Zod!
No. And in addition, we're glad to have back aboard, not kneeling before anyone but Jesus, I bet, given he's our clergy officer, one of them, Dustin Warford. Hey, Dustin.
I was going to say something crafty with the kneeling, but now I just have to go to I kneel for no man. Mm-hmm. I just, made that like up because there's...
That's from something. What's that from?
Yes.
Well, he doesn't say
Grail.
kneel, but it is from your favorite movie where he says, I move for no man. Fairly well, Black Knight.
All right. So tonight we're just having Drew on the podcast. No, but now that you have a quick flyby of who we are, Paul, Drew, Dustin, and myself, Paul, can you give us a quick overview of the production specs for Superman 2? And
make me sad.
Just to be clear, this is the Superman 2 with Christopher Reeve and Gene Hackman, directed by Richard Lester, that came out in 1980. It's not Superman Returns. It's not Superman Man of Steel. It's not the Justice League.
All right.
Okay.
Fine. The one with Christopher Reeve, right? All right. Superman 4, The Quest for Peace, came out. And what? That's what.
How is 4 the same as 2?
Gene Hackman, Margot Kidder. We've already seen Superman 2.
Yes, but we're doing it again.
What?
Because we lost it. Jareth mucked with our archives and it's gone. So we had to re-record this.
Dang you, Mecha Jareth.
Right?
All right. Hold on. Let me have to go back.
I still haven't gotten all my hair back.
All right. Superman Returns, right? That's the second one.
No, that's directed by Bryan Singer.
Yeah.
That's technically
Richard
Superman
Lester.
5.
Wait, is the phone ringing?
Not yet. I'm sure it will soon. Will you give me the specs, please?
For which movie?
Superman 2.
Okay, the Donner cut.
No, not the Donner cut.
That could have been brought to my attention yesterday.
All of these. Hold on. All right. Superman II
Oh, God.
was released December 4th, 1980 in Australia.
Oh, it's an Australian movie.
It runs 2 hours and 7 minutes. And because it's Australian, we can ask Roy what he thinks about all this. But we'll get to that later. It's rated G. Sorry, it's rated PG, Roy. Sorry. Parental guidance is suggested. It was directed by Richard Lester and Richard Donner. they collaborated.
Unintentionally.
Talk a bit more about that later, but yes, okay.
It was written by Mario Puzo and Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster get writing credits because they created the character Superman. With lead stars being Gene Hackman, Christopher Reeve, Margot Kidder, Terrence Stamp, and a few other people you may or may not recognize, like Marty McFly's brother. All right.
Yeah.
And the music was composed by John Williams, not John Williams, but actually Ken Thorne.
Yes.
All right. So you ready for the box
Sure,
office
copy and
trivia?
paste.
I think I'm ready. Dustin and Drew, are you guys ready?
Bring it. Let's do it.
All right. And everyone in chat, you guys are welcome to join in as well. Paul, let's start the box office trivia game.
All right. Superman II was made for about $54 million and went on to earn over $190 million at the box office. So given this fact, how super high in the box office do you think it ranks among the movies released theatrically in 1981? Because it came out in December. It's
Fine. I mean, and it's weird. For some reason, it came out in Australia first. I don't know why. It came out in A1 in the US, but okay. Anyway, okay. For A1, fair.
yes.
Okay. And how many top 50 movies you said? Or
Yeah, we'll
okay.
do top 50.
All right. Drew, what is your guess?
I'm thinking 10.
10. Dustin, how about you?
This is so 1981, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're talking Raiders of the Lost Ark, some Bond movies. Superman was big. I'm gonna go for broke. I'm gonna say number 1. This was the best movie of 81.
Sure.
I'm going for it. We're going worldwide or domestic?
Worldwide.
I'm thinking number 1 worldwide. Superman's a big deal.
All right.
Like me. So let's go for it.
In chat, Bobo guesses 5, Dale guesses 4, B. Greer guesses 12, and Who Will Save Generation X guesses 2. Man, okay, you guys. I
Elevated thoughts about this movie.
I am going to guess my age of 21.
Oh.
Yeah. You're sneezing. I'm confused.
Excuse me.
Do you have a cold there, Drew? It's interesting.
Well, the weather in Texas has been odd.
So, Paul, where did it actually end up in the top 50 movies of 1981?
Well, Superman's flying high and actually threaded right between the guesses at the number 3 spot.
Number 3? No one.
Hyphennumbers.com.
So
what did Raiders beat it?
Raiders was number 1.
Okay.
For Your Eyes Only was number 2.
Is that a Bond movie?
That's a Bond.
There's a Bond movie.
Okay. So then I will give
Roger
it
Moore, I think.
Given that, I guess let's see who Will Save Generation X and Dale were the closest with number 2 and number 4. So you guys win. Congratulations.
Yes. Share the prize.
Share the prize. Though, I mean, I guessed 21 and 2 plus 1 is 3. So I think in a way I actually won. So.
Aye, Captain. Man, aye.
This is what
I
happens.
don't think so, Tim.
This is what happens with all the millennials in the world today. Everybody's got to find a way to be the winner.
I'm an Xennial. Thank you very much. But
I thought I was the only millennial on this podcast.
you are, because I'm an Xennial. Dig it. But
me too, Francisco. Me too. Okay.
Thank you for those factoids, Paul. And let's see if any of them factor into our memory mind meld or subsequent roundtable discussion, which we will get into once Alice is located, our target film.
Alert. Target located. Spoilers incoming. Establishing analysis vector.
The 3 villains from Krypton have taken over the White House. Now, kneel before Zod. Metropolis is almost in ruins. And Superman has lost his powers. Or has he? As the adventure continues in Superman 2, rated PG. Now playing. Check newspapers for local listing.
Newspapers, you say? What is that? This isn't on a website? Okay, but obviously
Yes, it's Superman2.com.
probably remember newspapers and have some memories about Superman 2. And that TV spot probably brought back some memories. But let's see what we collectively remembered by going through our memory mind meld synopsis of Superman 2. Memories? What memories? Superman kissed me and now I don't remember anything. Wait, how would I remember that? Oh, they're all coming back to me now. Kneel before Zod. As he and his Hot Topic Phantom Zone pals escape because a nuke is fired at a sun and it makes Black Lightning guy that comes back in Superman 4. Superman gives up his power to be with dumb Lois as demanded by the AI version of his mama when the only one worthy of giving up his powers for would be Lana, and she would never ask him to do that. That's right, justice for Annette/Kirsten. Supes manages to reverse the process that took his powers away, exposing Zod and his henchmen to the Red Sun, taking away their powers instead, resulting in controversial killing of the baddies. Hey Zod, kneel before Kal-El. Wow. Yeah, some of those memories I very much agree with. I mean, the whole like justice for Annette and Kirsten, whoever put that in, they're straight shooters.
Yeah.
But
along with Justice for Salvo.
No, just there's. You're not gonna derail me, Paul. But unfortunately, some of those memories were derailed. In fact, you might say they were decepted. But based on those memories, as flawed as they were, what rating did they lead you to predict for this film before your rewatch? Classic, nostalgic, or tragic? I'm going to start with Dustin this time. What was your prediction for Superman 2?
I predicted classic.
Classic.
So
okay.
I grew up on these movies.
Oh, yeah. And
Superman.
when did you first? That's another question I sometimes neglect to ask. When did you first see Superman 2 also?
So I don't remember the first time I saw it, but I know that all the Christopher Reeves movies, all 4 of the ones he did, I grew up. I don't remember not watching these movies.
Yeah,
they were a staple in my house. Superman has always been my favorite superhero of all time.
Oh, wow. Okay, cool.
So my daughter, when she was little, started calling me Superman unprompted, which was like one of the greatest moments in my life. And
that's a lot to live up to.
We were watching a cartoon, the Justice League cartoon, and he came in and punched a baddie, sent him across the room, and she just goes, "That's my daddy." And I was just like, this is the best moment my daughter could ever give me. And
That's
it's just 3 years
and
old.
You've been nothing but a disappointment ever since.
Wow.
Someday she's going to go, "I hate you, Dad." And I'll be like, "Remember when you called me Superman?" But all that to say, I grew up watching these movies and loved some and hated some others. But this one I predicted classic because I remember very, very fond memories of particularly Superman 2.
Okay, yeah. Awesome. Drew, how about you? What was your prediction?
I predicted Nostalgic because I haven't seen this movie since I was 5.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So I literally remembered very little. The only thing I mainly remember is Mama saying we weren't going to watch Superman 3 or 4 because she thought they were quote unquote stupid. So and I've only seen
3 and 4.
Yeah, so don't ask me on for Atomic Man coming back.
Is that what his name was? Atomic Man?
She's not wrong. Mama was right.
Black Lightning.
So yeah, I still haven't even seen those movies. So yeah, I hadn't seen this in years, and so I thought, well, I remember enjoying it. Kind of. I kind of remember enjoying it. That was a long time ago. But yeah, I just figured, well, play it safe, nostalgic.
Okay. Paul, what was your prediction?
I don't remember watching it in the theater, but I do remember watching it on network TV. They would,
really?
Back in the day, they would advertise like probably during the off seasons, like Sunday night special or whatever. It was a big deal. Like we as a family would be home to watch these kind of movies on the TV, you know, like Star Wars and such. And I loved it growing up watching them. This was my favorite of the Superman growing up because it was a lot more action. As an adult, I may enjoy the first one a little bit better, but back as a kid, I thought, you know, like all those Kansas scenes and everything, it was slow and boring as a kid compared to Superman 2 that had all the villains and all the fun action. So I predicted classic because I enjoyed these films back in the day and I probably enjoy them now.
All right. For me, And it's interesting. There, you guys are mixed in the chat. There's classics and nostalgics going on. No tragics yet. And I'm not going to predict tragic. At least I didn't predict tragic, is what I should say. I remember, like, I don't remember the first time I watched this. I think we probably watched, like, rented this or watched it on HBO or something like that. When there's like a free, try HBO thing. And I remember liking it well enough. I always think I had a fondness for number 3 over this one. So I predicted nostalgic for Superman 2. I don't remember it being the best, but I don't remember it being the worst. Which is funny because we've never covered Superman 4 on the Retro Round podcast. And I remember thinking that one was the best as a kid, but I don't think I'd like it at all as an adult. So,
from what I understand, you won't.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody would.
What are you talking about? It's got Lex Luthor and Ducky in it. I mean, come on.
Ducky? Who's Ducky?
It's probably another movie that you haven't seen.
Yeah, I got a real problem with that.
Yeah.
But it'll be interesting to see if those predictions come true. But first, let's get into the things we liked most about Superman 2. I'll bring up our like section.
Best bits.
Yes, our best bits of Superman 2. And I'm going to start with Drew. What's one thing you liked about this film?
One of the things I like about this film is that actually it's an actual super villain. It feels like we're actually fighting a decent super. We're actually fighting super villains. I'm sorry, I'll get it said straight in a second. As much as I like the first one where it's fighting Lex is just a mastermind in the first one, and he's pretty much that's what he is here too. So actually getting see Superman go toe to toe with not just one, not just two, but 3 other people of equal power who just don't have the experience he has using that power, I thought was actually interesting to watch. It was actually see him go toe to toe.
I guess I'm a little confused because all 4 movies have the same supervillain in each of them. So
No.
Negative.
Yeah.
Negative.
The grand manipulator of Superman, Margot Kidder, aka Lois Lane, is the supervillain in all 4 of these films. So I'm not sure why you thought there's no supervillain in the second one. Anyway,
she's
or the
just trying
first
to
one,
do her job.
I should say. Is she?
She could only learn how to spell.
Oh yeah, because she does have a problem with that. But continue, Drew, with your.
Maybe this is just I like seeing a good fight when I go to a superhero movie, and honestly, well, you don't have that in the first one because it's more of a Superman versus society sort of a thing, and the evils of society that just happens to be led by Lex Luthor. I just love actually getting to see Superman actually fight toe to toe with 3 powerful bad guys.
Yeah, totally.
Actually, especially since they set that up at the beginning of the first movie, and then you have to wait a whole other movie for them to show back up again.
Yeah, which was kind of cool that they had the forethought. I mean, I guess because that was Richard
Donner's original concept, but they kind of poo-pooed that in the making of this film, but we'll get to that later.
Yes. But okay, cool. So you liked that it felt like he was actually finding super villains.
Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. Dustin, was Superman facing a super villain this time something that made your like list as well, or was there something else you enjoyed?
I did like that. Before I get into mine, I'll just piggyback on that one for a second. Because seeing Superman, I agree. Instead of a battle of the wits, it was a battle of the strength. And it was so fun to see him just going at it with 3 other super villains and, the destruction that everyone sees in the comics and everything. It was cool.
It's just something that excites your inner 5-year-old.
Absolutely. But the first thing on my list of likes, I'll go right to it. It's not my classic maker, but this is way up there for me. Just the line that Drew yelled out that I joked about a second ago to the kneel before Zod. It is such an iconic line that,
it is
1981, this comes out. And here we are, 2020, 20XX for the podcast.
Exactly, 20XX.
And 20XX. And that line is still, there's memes that still go out about it. People will still reference it. It's just, it's a line that has been there forever. And it's one of the first things I think about when you think of Superman in general.
Yeah.
Kneel before Zod.
Yeah.
And I believe they even brought that back in the Man of Steel movie, kneel.
Yeah. That seems
It's
it's
the
just
light exactly, but he did yell a lot.
he yelled a lot. But I loved that line for me is just synonymous with the Superman movies, kneeling before Zod, and it's I love it. So it's a definite like for me.
awesome. Very, very good. For me,
Come to me, son of Jor-El! Kneel before Zod!
Yes,
exactly,
yes.
Paul.
See, that also gets my inner 5-year-old like, oh, let's get him. I get all excited.
So, okay.
right.
Yeah, you know what's funny, guys? So my first like is very much on par with both Drew and Dustin's, and that's that I thought Zod and his three or his two, I guess, henchmen, Ursa and Nod.
Nom.
Man, when they
Wink and a nod. Yeah.
Sure. When they are they first come on the scene at the moon not moon base, but the moon landing of like Artemis, whatever. I think that's the name of it. It wasn't Apollo, but I just got so fearful because they're like just wrecking these astronauts. They're like, this guy's getting all I still don't understand why his suit gets puffy if all the air is being let out of his suit. But regardless, that was always freaked me out as a kid. And then
Peer pressure.
peer pressure?
Air pressure.
Oh.
And peer pressure. It was getting to him. He just puffed up like that when he too much anxiety. It's like a puffer fish.
But then that the launcher couldn't escape, and he was being crushed inside. That was just that really set the stage for these guys being no joke, being villains, not caring about who gets in their way, no matter how many friends you lose or people you leave dead and blade along the way, as long as you can make a way for yourself as an investigatory Zod. No matter how many friends you lose or people you leave bloodied along the way. I'm going to stop the Zoolander reference right there. Okay, so anyway.
Sorry, I was enjoying the Uguligi.
But I thought they were so menacing, and I thought there was a great setup for establishing them because in the first you don't really know how, and especially at the beginning of the show, they crack that one guy's neck that might be a robot anyway. Look, we got in this hyper security Krypton place. I'm like, okay, but how they are treating humanity on the moon is like, okay, now I know these guys are no joke. So I really liked how they established them as supervillains. Paul, let's go with you. Are you going to continue the theme of Zod and his cronies, or did something else make your like list?
No, I'm going to go to another villain.
Okay.
Just for fun. I don't know why, but let's talk about the bully at the diner.
Rocky.
Rocky loves Emily. No, not that one.
See, I know you love Three Ninjas, movie. Paul.
Yeah.
Psych.
Okay, but seriously, the Rocky at the diner scene, the bully. I don't like seeing him get Clark getting beat up, especially when he has no powers. Yeah. By the way, good acting. Like, just.
I mean, Christopher Reeve, I think is a good actor in lots of things. Yeah.
But then at the end scene where he gets his quote unquote revenge, I don't know why, but there's something in me that just cheers so loudly. Like, yeah, get the bully. I loved it as a kid and I love it as an adult.
Yeah, but you know what, Paul? What doesn't make sense is he could have gotten Lois a burger right there, but he doesn't. He goes all the way there saying, "Oh, I'll get you a hot dog or something," and he doesn't pick up that at that diner to bring back.
Bring back where? At the end of the movie?
Yes, to Lois.
I think there was a little time lapse there. That was
they had broken up. They had kissed and everything. Like,
but she wanted the burger after the kiss.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. She did want a burger. Yeah. So I was like,
yes, but
he's right there. Why aren't you getting a burger?
Because by the time he flies back, the wind is going to cool the burger off. It's not going to. No,
he used all of his money to pay back the guy for all the damages he just did. There was no money left for a burger.
Fine. I'm just
That's
saying.
a good point.
That's
I mean, he
a missed
could've
opportunity,
heated up-
is all I'm saying.
He could have heated up the burger with his heat vision.
That's true.
So
Yes.
Regardless, I love the scene, even though you're supposed to love your enemies, but I don't know what it is about me. Maybe it's the fallen nature in me, but I love the payback.
All right.
I-
All right.
I
That's very
love
fair.
the nonchalant excuse he gives for sliding
Yeah,
the
I've
guy
been working
across.
out.
I've been working out.
Love it. It's
Oh
great.
my goodness.
revenge is a dish best served by Superman.
Exactly. Dustin, why don't you work out another one of your likes for us?
I'll say it because it was kind of already mentioned. I loved the cast in this movie.
Oh yeah.
Christopher Reeves was great. Gene Hackman is an amazing Lex Luthor.
Yeah, but that supervillain, Margot Kidder.
Margot Kidder, I don't see her as the villain you guys do, but
No,
Okay.
I don't.
I don't think anyone would disagree with me if and I'm sorry, I'm forgetting the actress's name, but the one who plays
Annette O'Toole.
Oh, I mean that. Don't get me started. I
don't know if she would look as good as with black dark hair.
I'm
'cause
team
Lois
Lana
has
all the
dark
way.
hair.
But if we're going with Lois, I would prefer the woman that plays. Oh, why can't I remember her name in Raiders of the Lost Ark? Geez, I'm totally blanking on her name. But who plays his love interest in Raiders of the Lost Ark? That actress. I'm going to bring it up because I care that
Karen
much
Allen.
about it.
Good job.
Thank
Karen
you,
Allen.
Karen
Yes.
Allen.
So she would have been so much more better.
She would have.
Ugh,
She
so
would have
much
made a
more
great
better.
Lois. But
yes, so not just better, much more
many
better.
much more better.
Yes, exactly.
I don't know about so much more, but better.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So
Karen
anyway.
Allen, she's a good one.
I'll
Yeah.
drop my whole Margot Kidder as a supervillain shtick.
But
continue,
anywho,
Justin.
I thought the cast was so well done.
Yeah, they were.
Terrence Stamp even as the bad as
Yeah.
Zod. I thought he
So
nailed
good.
the role of Zod.
Absolutely.
I enjoyed
I
his
don't know-
performance more than Gene Hackman's performance, just from an acting standpoint. Yeah.
Well, Gene Hackman really was a side character in this one. He was
Right.
there trying to manipulate it, but the focus really was Zod.
Yeah,
Yeah.
his henchmen.
absolutely.
And
he
Lex
carried it
tried to
well.
manipulate like he does.
Yeah.
But the cast I thought was great. And even I don't know the actor's name that played Non.
Jackal Halloran.
But I mean,
Yeah.
he has no dialogue, which they even reference in the beginning,
Right.
you're as
Mhm.
mute in this, but
Mhm.
but he plays just the big dumb brute
Yeah,
so well
he
too.
does,
Even with no
he
words. He
does,
just
yes.
plays it so good. So I thought the casting on this movie was great.
Mhm.
I loved it.
Yeah.
And I'll go to my next like because it's very related to that. I thought Christopher Reeve just plays such a good bumbling Clark. I mean, I really
Yes.
believe him as
Yes.
this nerdy dweeby guy that would never get a girl in a million years and is just so lacks confidence. He does that so well. It almost makes me buy his whole you don't recognize him as Superman because of just that persona he puts on. It's not the glasses.
It's not just the look.
Yeah. So I don't think I ever realized that until watching it in this film. But man, so I just kudos to Christopher Reeve for that.
I'll jump on that bandwagon.
Yeah.
We mentioned it was one of my likes in our review of Superman 3 when he goes the Clark versus the Superman and just the acting that he does.
Mm-hmm.
But in this movie, I've never really noticed it until this rewatch, is that he's actually playing three different characters. He has Superman with his suit on.
Mhm.
He has Clark Kent with his quote unquote suit on.
Yeah.
But when he loses his powers,
Mhm.
he's like a completely different guy between those two.
Mhm.
He's like a combo. He's not, like a buffoon muddling around, but he is it is a different character. So, and he is able to act that way in a seamless way
Mhm.
that you don't even really think about it unless you're really looking for it.
Yeah,
And I thought he
yeah.
just did an amazing job
Yeah.
at that.
I would say
I'm going to jump on this one also
go
for
for it.
my like.
Yeah.
And yeah, it is Christopher Reeve as Superman because he does an amazing job. It's interesting watching it and you see him just the subtle movements and how he'll go from being slouchy Clark Kent to Superman in the same scene.
Yeah.
You're
To
right.
the point where I don't know if it's this way with y'all, but my mind registers these two characters as two
Right.
different people.
Right.
Like the fact that they are the same character.
Yeah.
And it's weird watching him morph from one to the other.
At the end, after the kissing scene where he is that third person where he's like combined both Clark and Superman, and he's talking with her as he, and then he kisses her. And then, as Drew's saying, and he morphs into Clark right after that. I noticed it last week when I was watching Superman 1 in preparation for watching Superman 2. Oh, nice. I wanted to. I didn't get around to it.
It'd been a while since I've seen Superman 1, and I knew what it led into this one. So I noticed that in that one, like when he's in the first movie, when he's getting ready when he shows up after the flying scene as Clark and takes his glasses off, is almost going to tell her that he's Superman, and then he shifts back. It's like amazing just to watch him go back and forth. You can't. I don't see that with other actors.
Yeah,
when they play other superheroes.
But you're right. Yeah.
Granted, Superman you have to do that because he has no other way of distinguishing the difference. He doesn't have a mask, so his glasses are his mask.
Yeah.
Right. Unlike Christian Bale, who just changes his voice.
I will say there's one other movie where Christopher Reeve plays three characters that's probably a little better than this, but I'll save what that is for later. Okay, let's go with Dustin for one more like, and then we'll get into our classic makers. What was one more thing you liked, Dustin?
The musical score.
Yeah,
I do love the musical score.
Oh, okay. Now, did you like how Ken Thorne did it, or did you just like the John Williams-ness of it?
I don't know if I have a specific answer to that question. I just know that this theme song, just in general, I love the Superman theme song.
Yes.
It's another one of those when it plays, no matter where it plays, how it plays, it's something that you can recognize and you're familiar with. I just think it's a very iconic theme. So I love the song. It was my ringtone for a while, just for fun.
Oh,
yeah,
fun.
same here.
I actually did a thing at church where everyone in my church knows my love for superheroes, specifically Superman. And so there was a Sunday where the congregation, it was Pastor's Appreciation Month in November or October. And
I was about to say, I thought it was October, but I wasn't going to correct you. That's the way I show appreciation.
So October, and a bunch of people wore Superman shirts to church.
Oh, fun.
And then I got up on stage, and I knew they were going to do it. Someone had tipped off, hey, a bunch of people are going to wear the shirt. So I wore one under my collared shirt.
Nice.
And the theme song started playing, and I opened it up, and it was just a fun moment. But this song played, and it's just it wasn't anything other than, what's a good Superman theme song? There's lots of songs that have been played over the years, but this is the Superman song.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Let's see. So, scores aside,
but I will say,
what were you going to say about Ken Thorne versus John Williams, Paul? You were going to say something about that.
Look, John Williams themes made my like list.
Yes,
but it's classic. Love it.
Yeah.
But I guess I'm such a fan. That opening note, as it comes in on Krypton, as it's playing Krypton's theme, it's too high. It's played like a French horn or something. It's just an octave or so too high. And I'm like, this is a John Williams theme, but this isn't John Williams. I could tell because John Williams, the mood isn't quite right.
Oh,
John Williams the mood would have been a little bit, in my opinion, I could be wrong.
Okay.
But it would have been a little lower because it was, but I could tell, unfortunately, like, they're rehashing his themes, which is way better than Zimmer. Anyway, moving on.
Yeah.
And I suppose do you have an example of what that sounded like, Paul? Because I'm not really.
Yeah, it would sound something like this.
You're welcome.
Sorry. No, that's not.
But that was still legitimate. That it didn't quite sound right to you.
Yeah, unfortunately, I paused it. I was hoping I was wrong. And I was like, you know what? I'll just wait for the credits and see if it's just John Williams who is the composer, or if it was. And I waited and it wasn't. And I was like, I knew it.
It had that in the beginning credits. You didn't have to wait till the end.
No, the initial show of Krypton planet with the
Yeah.
Krypton theme
Yeah,
is
yeah.
before the opening credits.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant you had to wait
Yeah.
till the end credits to find it.
No.
Okay.
I had to wait for the opening credits. That's how soon I knew.
All right. Well, let's get into our classic makers now, guys.
Oh, okay.
Let's begin with Drew. What's the thing you loved most about Superman 2?
The comedy trio of Lex Luthor, Miss Tessmacher, and Otis is still my favorite parts
Really?
of the
Really?
thing.
Okay.
Wow.
I know Otis doesn't last long, but that's even funnier. Especially when he's trying to climb up.
Yes, and the balloon
That
goes
is
down.
funny,
The
yeah.
balloon's coming down. I'm sorry, that made me laugh so stinking hard. It was the funniest thing in the whole stinking movie.
But comedy, Superman 2, yeah.
Yeah, but I know that's but Lex Luthor as the comedic relief to me is just so perfect
Mm-hmm.
because he can't hold up. He can't stand up physically
Mm-hmm.
to
Right.
any of our four people. I mean, he could probably beat down Clark Kent when he doesn't have his powers, but
Even that's arguable.
yeah,
That's true.
but even like his lines while they're in the jail when he's actually bald, like Lex Luthor's supposed to be,
Yeah.
and he's saying the greatest criminal mind in our history reduced to laundry. I'm sorry, that's just funny.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
Because he was such a villain of intellectually in the first one, and now is just reduced to playing second fiddle. And to me, that's a in this for this film
Mhm.
that makes perfect sense. And I especially I don't know the whole every time Gene Hackman was on screen,
Mm-hmm.
along with the other two, they were also fun. But mostly Gene Hackman.
Mm-hmm.
It was just so. It was like those were the times when I was most glued in to what was going on and wasn't getting distracted by my phone.
Mm-hmm.
Because some parts of the rest of the film, I'll admit, I got distracted by my phone while they were playing.
Yeah.
Oh.
So yeah, but all Gene Hackman scenes were just excellent. So
And I will say, because my classic maker is tied into that, I especially loved how Gene Hackman plays Lex Luthor so well that at the end, he's like, you kind of have a sense that he's going to always be loyal to the side of evil, but he has a glimmer of maybe he'll side with Superman at the end. And then he just turns on Superman. But I love that they wrote it that Superman knew that was going to happen and was able to anticipate it and had the red sun stuff happen outside the chamber instead of inside. And just a great way of turning Lex's motives on everyone else. I loved that Superman is not only used his mind in this moment, not only his brawn, because obviously his brawn wouldn't be enough to defeat all of them.
Right.
So I especially love that. So that was my classic maker.
He knew his enemy well.
Exactly. Yes.
Which actually
Lex
ties into
Luthor, ruler of Australia.
yes.
Go ahead, Paul.
That actually ties into
yours.
my classic is that it's this story with formidable foes. It's not just sorry, Drew, it's not just Lex Luthor, trying to outsmart it, but it's outsmarting people that are strong like him or stronger. Yeah. And I love that. And you don't really get that again until Superman 4, unfortunately.
Nope. Superman 3.
Where Clark becomes as strong as Superman.
I mean, that's good too, but no, the old the computer girl. If he didn't have acid, he'd be nothing. He'd be dead.
Yeah, which is so weird. We won't
with
get
no
into
context of what y'all are talking about. Y'all aren't
Dumbest
really
bad
selling
guy
me on
ever.
Superman 3.
Dustin, I am this close to kicking you off the show.
Dumbest bad guy.
Much
ever.
less Superman 4. The
Computer
Quest
girl
for
was
Peace.
lame.
Oh my gosh, she's so creepy and so powerful. Oh my gosh.
that. Can't be that powerful. The Superman at this time in the comics can punch a planet and destroy it. How could he not punch a computer?
I don't know.
Computer girl.
Apparently, computer girl is super powerful. So,
super lame.
You know what? Let's talk about
Anyway,
Superman
so-
3 more. So was she
Yeah.
supposed to be like Brainiac, essentially? Was she like a stand for Brainiac?
That's
Okay.
where it came from.
Oh, that makes
Tragic.
sense.
Check our review on
Mrs.
Superman
Brainiac.
3 for more information on that.
Superman 3, Brainiac with no kryptonite. Dumb.
Yeah.
Fine, Dustin. Fine. Why don't you want to talk a
Should've used
lot?
Starro.
Why don't you give us your classic maker for Superman 2, Dustin?
I will. I love the struggle and the theme of sacrifice that we see in this movie consistently.
yeah.
We see Superman first. He sacrifices his powers to be with Lois.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And you know, so much of the first movie, even his story is living up to the hero that he needs to be for Earth, and you know, always doing what's right. But so he gives that up to be with Lois without even a second thought. You know, he's like, yes, I will lay this down to be with her. And then when it turns into, wait, I have to give her up to get my powers back to save the world, he does it again. So he's consistently putting himself aside to do what's needed.
Mm.
And I love that this movie capitalizes on that a couple times. And then even in the end, he does it again. I've got to do, and we'll get into the whole dumb kiss thing that I didn't like, but the whole, I need her to forget so she can be okay, so she can be happy, because, you know, she was going to be absolutely miserable if she couldn't be with him, but she knows all that stuff. So he gave up again the ability to be with her to make her happy.
Mm-hmm.
He consistently is giving himself away in this movie. And I really, really like that theme that they pulled from the beginning all the way to the end.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. That's great. Yeah, I could totally see that, Dustin.
You know, I agree. It would made my like list, but we didn't have time to go over it.
That's fair.
And you said it better than I could. So I'm glad you did.
Awesome. Yay. Well, so lots to like about Superman 2 for sure. But there's probably some things we didn't like so much about Superman 2. But you know what? There is something I like that I do want to mention. I haven't gotten a chance to mention it yet. And that would be the Rushmore Show.
Whoa.
The Rushmore Show is a place for ranking the ultimate top 4 in sports, video games, nostalgia, movies, and so much more. Each week, Andy and Kirk spark engaging discussions and friendly debates, making the Rushmore Show your compass in the realm of pop culture rankings. Find them at youtube.com/The Rushmore Show, where it's all about your top 4 and nothing more, except there is some more. Again, youtube.com/The Rushmore Show.
That's so weird. I saw the Mount Rushmore with their faces being destroyed in this movie and redone.
Yeah.
But I didn't realize Andy and Kirk were in this movie as the Rushmore Show.
Oh, well, they're not really.
Oh.
Why would you think that?
Because you said you liked the Rushmore Show about Superman 2.
No, I just said I wanted to say one more thing I liked.
Oh.
I didn't say anything about being connected to Superman 2. Who would do a shtick like that?
But Francisco, there is a connection, because obviously Christopher Reeves is the George of Superman.
I thought George Reeves was.
That too.
Okay, Paul, but it sounds like you want to get back on topic with Superman 2. So how about some trivia about the movie?
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Okay. So did you all realize, and we talked about this a little bit, but John Williams did not return as composer. It was Ken Thorne, due to schedule.
Sorry. I didn't have a boo sound effect.
Oh,
that was
okay.
the closest one I had.
But the reason he didn't it wasn't due to like he hates Superman or anything, but it was due to scheduling commitments with Star Wars Episode 5, Empire Strikes Back, which was in 1980, and Raiders of the Lost Ark, 1981. So he's like doing all these scores.
Which were better scores than the Superman 2 one. I mean, I'm glad we have those.
Yes.
I don't know if it's a better score than the Superman 1, but it's up there.
Okay. Well, however, Williams granted the Salkinds, the producers of the Superman movie, permission to use his original theme, and even recommended composer Ken Thorne, a personal friend of Williams, to compose the film's score. So
and pick successor.
With that in mind, if we lived in a reality where John Williams didn't exist for whatever reason, what composer would you pick to do all the scores John Williams would have made?
So sad. And without John Williams, we don't have John Billiams.
That's true. We'd have to come up with another name. So let's first ask, you know what? I just realized Superman Returns uses John Williams' theme also, and Bryan Singer directed Superman Returns. So, let's get him on the phone and find out who he would have chosen instead of John Williams if John Williams didn't exist. So,
Oh, hello?
Brian Singer?
Yes. What? Yes, I'm busy not directing. What do you want?
Oh, well, then we caught you at the perfect time. This is Retro Rewind Podcast.
Oh, you guys again. Yeah, you're one of my favorite podcasts to ever not listen to sometimes.
I really appreciate not so much that, Brian. Thank you. We had a question. Are you open to a question tonight?
That sounds like a question about a question.
Okay, well, I have multiple questions then.
Yeah, obviously.
You wanted to make Superman Returns exactly like the original Superman movie, right?
No, I wanted my own shtick on it.
Well, it seemed very similar, but that's neither here nor there. You used John Williams' theme though for the movie, correct? Yeah.
Yeah, he's got a good theme.
So let's say you had to pick another composer though. Who would you have picked?
Bill Conti.
Oh.
Yeah, because he does amazing at Masters of the Universe, which is kind of the same thing.
Did he also do Karate Kid?
He did. Yes.
Okay.
And yeah, all right, I gotta go. I'm gonna high kick you in the face if you don't. I gotta go. Bye.
Bye, Brian. Geez, didn't mean to offend you. Surprised he didn't pick the composer for like X-Men or something, but okay, that's fine. Let's go to the people here on the podcast, though. Sorry for that diversion. Let's go to Dustin. Who would you pick to replace all of John Williams' themes?
Well, I know there's some recycling done with his stuff, but I would have to go with Hans Zimmer.
Oh, really? Okay.
Hans Zimmer, when did he start?
He started later.
Yeah, I was about to say,
started with The Lion King.
I think he was
whatever year that was.
He was mid 80s
for Superman.
He was mid 80s when he started, but I think of Hans Zimmer and I think of Pirates of the Caribbean and Gladiator, which definitely
he didn't.
No. It doesn't matter when they were born or anything.
All right, I'm going to pick someone 3,000 years from now just because they're so cool and so much better. I don't know his name.
If I could pick someone based off of the works I've heard him do, and I know his talent and abilities, I would pick Hans Zimmer to do the score because I put his name with so many other fun movies that have soundtracks or themes that when it play, as soon as it plays, you recognize it. Like, I know that movie. I know this. Yeah. And a lot of that is Hans.
That's right.
Even if you watch Gladiator and then Pirates of the Caribbean and think, wait a second, this is the same thing. It's still there.
I will say Pirates of the Caribbean, the first movie, was scored by someone else who cribbed their own score of a previous movie. We're not going to get into that right now, but he did take over for 2 and 3, I believe. All right. Thank you, Dustin. So Hans Zimmer. Drew, how about you?
I'm going with someone who actually I know can do John Williams style music because he
Ken Thorne, his personal
on another
friend.
movie. No, I'm going with Michael Giacchino.
Okay. Who's that? I'm not sure who that is.
He does a lot of the Pixar films.
Okay.
He does he did the Star Trek 2009 soundtrack.
Okay. Yeah.
But when I say he does John Williams like stuff, he was the composer for Rogue One.
Oh, okay.
So I know, and I know he can do John Williams styled music. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it makes sense he could do.
But could he do it without John Williams ever existing?
Well, now we're getting too deep into the logic.
Well, this is the question. This is the setup for the whole thing that Francisco says, oh, you can pick anybody.
There were no parameters to this question.
Yeah,
there were no rules.
The parameters I use.
We're talking about a movie where an alien punches other aliens through walls and you're getting into realistic expectations.
The parameters I used were thus.
No, I'm not going against your pick. It's a good pick.
Paul,
yeah.
This was just a veiled way of asking people who their favorite composers were. That's really all this is.
Oh, how dare you, sir!
I will have I like other
Lindsay
composers
Sterling.
as well, if not better than Michael Giacchino.
No, that's your favorite. You already said, Drew.
I know. That was supposed to say that's a totally
film.
separate question.
Okay. Oh my gosh, guys.
Look, just because you would pick, I don't know, Alan Silvestri.
No, I
or
would not
somebody.
pick Alan Silvestri.
Well, who would you pick?
We know Paul's picking Compositron 9X3. So.
Right.
Who is that?
I was going to pick the Araquan
Some
bird.
composer for 3,000 years in the future.
Oh, right. Before we get to Paul's pick, or my pick, if you do want to know mine, Dale said Bill Conte. B. Greer says John Barry, who did the Bond films. Dale also says Jerry Goldsmith.
Goldsmith would also be a good pick.
I thought you were going to go with Jerry Goldsmith myself, but
he was on my short list. But
and then Baba says, I choose Parallel Universe Neil Sedaka. I don't know who that is. I assume he's a composer, though. But what did he compose? And Who Will Save Generation X agrees. I'm not sure what he composed, Mr. Neil Sedaka. So let us know, guys. But
knowing Bobo, it's nothing good.
The Lion Sleeps Tonight, Calendar Girl.
That sounds like
Breaking Up is Hard to Do.
That seems like a pop music person, not a film score composer. But okay.
Hey, it could be worse. It could be Barry Manilow.
Oh, Neil Hefti. Oh, I'm sorry. Did the original Batman TV show theme and the Odd Couple theme. Okay, I'll give you that
From
one.
Parallel Universe. Yeah. Then I picked John Williams for a Parallel Universe.
Paul, who would you pick?
Yeah. Well, going to the original question, a reality where John Williams didn't exist, I went to someone who actually existed just
previous
at the same time, but was working previously. And that is Aaron Copland.
Oh,
now, you're not familiar with Aaron Copland, he did Fanfare for the Common Man. If you haven't heard this, do yourself a favor, look up Fanfare for the Common Man. He has that feel to it. But he also did the rodeo song, that's used in Beef.
Yes.
What's for Dinner?
That's so good. Dun dun dun.
Right. So he has the capability of both. The soft and the upbeat. So I would choose Aaron Copland.
That's all right. Thank you. I feel educated. Thank you.
Yep. So great trivia, Francisco.
Thank you, Paul.
And now that we've all had some trivial fun, let's find out what memories you, our rad rewinders, had about Superman II.
Yes. Let's see. We will start with Wardale White says, the breaking of Zod's hand, and he mentioned in chat earlier, this is actually his classic maker, but the breaking of Zod's hand, the roar of the music, and the sound of Zod's agony. All right.
Yeah, such a good scene.
Yes.
Who Will Save Generation X podcast? If you haven't heard one of their podcasts, I highly suggest you go check them out.
Indeed.
Plug there. All right. He says, or they say, or it says.
The podcast as a whole says.
Yeah. They say, yes, been waiting for this one. My memory is that I don't blame Superman for getting revenge on the dinner bully Rocky. He has the world's most punchable face. Classic.
Benjamin T. Van Dypen says, Lex Luthor, Superman. Lex Luthor remembers Lex Luthor saying, Superman, thank God. I mean, get him.
Right. That goes to the humor that Drew was talking about.
Yes, exactly.
Mm-hmm. Jeremy Shields says, I haven't watched the theatrical cut in a very long time. The Richard Donner cut is better.
And Jeremy did mention he wanted us to comment on how similar this was to Spider-Man 2. I do see some similarities, like the
giving up of
the powers. Also, the whole let's recap the first movie in the credits of the second movie. I thought that was I liked how Spider-Man 2 did way better with the comic book style, but I thought that was
like Bryan Singer was copying this film.
Not Superman. What? I don't think Bryan Singer did Spider-Man 2.
Spider-Man 2 was Sam Raimi.
I'm sorry. I confused it. Sorry.
Okay.
I just lost geek points. Let's move on.
We can cut that out, but we'll leave it in.
It's not the first time I've lost geek points, so I'll be fine.
But
go. Kevin Joshua Burnham says, the stupid throwing of the S on Zod. I mean, what the frick? Who thought of that idea must have had an idea of revenge at Richard Donner or wanted to ruin people's hero. Superman throwing letters at people is like Grover on Sesame Street.
Super Grover.
Watch the Richard Donner cut instead. It seriously changes the entire tone of the film and is much better in every way.
Every way. Awesome. Well, I mean, I feel like Kevin and Jeremy both give reasons maybe you shouldn't watch Superman 2, and let's keep that train rolling with our dislikes. Let's bring that up for us.
Worst woes.
Yes, our worst woes for Superman 2. I'm going to begin with Dustin. What's one thing you didn't like about this film?
All right. One thing I did not like, and I'll go off of Kevin's cellophane-esque comment there. That is probably the most there's a few, but one of the most like, what was that moments in this movie? Because if you know Superman, that's not one of his powers. It's a bizarre thing to throw in there.
Well, I think I've seen in the comics, it doesn't Superman make tiny Supermans? He shoots out of his hands in one comic.
Yeah, I was about to say, I was going to save this for when I was speaking later on it, but this is coming at the early 80s, which is unfortunately, when I say unfortunately, before I say unfortunately, this is taken at the same time as this is what's known in the DC Comics universe as the end of the Silver Age.
Yes.
And the movie people did the right thing. They worked with the comic guys to try to make sure that everything they did lined up with the comics because they knew that was their fan base. Unfortunately, again, this is at the end of the Silver Age where during those several decades, they had given Superman so many different abilities that just because they wanted to improve the story or whatever, they didn't want to do the same thing twice. Like in the comics, he did lose his powers, and for love. And yes, they did shoot things out of his little Superman. He did like disappear and like he did all these things.
He did instant transmission,
right?
Okay,
so unfortunately, it got to a point where now people are watching this movie who aren't as familiar with the comics, and they're going like, "Are for real?" And this is what really got the ball moving. Of like, okay, maybe we should redo things here. Where John Byrne later did Man of Steel, and they did the Crisis of the Infinite Earths, and they rebooted the DC universe. But this is one of those things that got the ball rolling. That maybe he shouldn't be throwing out giant. Look, there's a lot of several there, and let's just go. This is my tragic maker. Whoa, okay. There are a lot of because we're already into it. There are a lot of silly things like pointing little white laser things out of their fingers at each other.
Yes.
There's a lot of stupid things that aren't quote unquote Superman in this
Superman's
movie.
powers,
But everyone remembers the giant cellophane, whatever. It is so outrageous that everyone gets how stupid those other powers are.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Okay, I need to bounce off of this too because this is one of my dislikes.
Dustin, we totally Bogart Dustin's dislike.
I'm still not done with it. It's not even a tragic maker, but I'm not done yet.
Go ahead and kill it, then I will resurrect it and kill it again.
I was going to say the cellophane S stands out, but Paul mentioned it. There's so many bizarre powers that he does in this movie that, I mean, even General Zod, the telekinesis they give him, and they even use that again in god-awful Superman 4. It's just, but like Superman is not a telekinetic. He can't do these things.
Not anymore.
He does not have the power to make you forget who he is by making out with you.
Not anymore.
So I guess the way I put it in my notes is there are random powers and inconsistencies with the powers in this movie.
Yes. Yeah.
Like for the inconsistency, for example, he can fly and lift up something and hurl it into space, but the bus he can't stop. And I know that they threw the bus at him, but it pushes him back. He puts the power tower on Non, and they're like, "Oh, he pinned Non down." I'm like, he just flew up there and put it on him. The guy is also strong. He off them. So there's inconsistencies you see in the movie with how strong they are versus what's affecting him, on top of the crazy powers that Superman does exhibit. That for me, I was like, all right, when you think of classic Superman, there's so much in this movie that's just, you're like, what is that?
Yeah, exactly.
That's not Superman. It's weird.
Exactly.
Okay, Drew, now you can bash it some more.
Okay, so here's the thing. I am a fan of the 1966 Batman show, which itself is also a adaptation of Silver Age comic book superhero.
That's
even
right.
though Batman
At
is
the beginning,
not
more
exactly a
towards the
super
beginning, but
powered
yes.
superhero. Either way,
Right.
Bam. Pow.
right. Here's the thing. That works because it is taking what the comic book did and playing it straight. It's not trying to make a serious superhero production. This is, and then you pull all this crap that maybe, just maybe, if you are making a film, you edit out the ridiculous stuff that no one's going to believe, because you're not selling this to the kids who read the comics. Yes, you are selling it to the fans, but even the fans want you to take Superman seriously.
Yeah, no one's going to believe he'll fall in love with Margot Kidder when Karen Allen is waiting in the wings.
Wow.
Brought it back.
First off, Lois Lane is always Superman's girlfriend.
I didn't say not Lois Lane. I said not Margot
always.
Kidder.
Well, in high school.
Okay, yes, Lana Lang was the thing. I'm just saying, admittedly, Superman
there
does
were
have
other
a
women
thing
along the way before.
for the LL initials. But
Yes.
all I'm saying is, this movie at times it's trying to take seriously the goofiest parts of Superman's power set, instead of just saying, "Hey, here's an idea. Why don't we make a good movie that happens to use some of Superman's powers and make it actually and still be true to what's going on while not being stupid?"
Actually, I was listening to the commentary and they said they ran into the problem of you have one Superman versus three super beings, and it could come down to just a bloody fist fight if they wanted to.
But that's fair.
They didn't want to do that because they don't make those kinds of movies.
Yeah.
So
And admittedly,
they
we are
relied
talking
more on like, okay,
Yeah.
well, let's use the powers. What else can they do? And they try to be creative with that. So,
And admittedly, we are talking about 1981. We're not going to have the special effects we see in modern superhero films, where they can actually do pretty decent superhero fights where they look good at this time, because we just don't have that capability.
Right.
But at the same time, some of the things like the stupid cellophane S, which is really what I think of as the peak of stupid things in this film.
Yes, I agree.
Is just, I don't even get what it's supposed to, what he's actually trying to do in that moment besides capture them. And even how is he pulling that off of his suit to do that? I can follow the logic of everything else. I can't follow the logic of cellophane S.
Ask Ma Kent, who sews his suits together. Oh wait, no, wait, that's
not
the later
this film.
Yeah, that's
He's got magic Krypton cloth, because that's the only way we know where this stuff comes from. It even disappears on him when he lets his powers get taken away.
Yeah, it's true.
But anyway.
Yeah. So I'll for my first dislike. First, I'm gonna lead in with one that didn't quite make my list, but I do want to mention that kid at Niagara deserved to die. I'm sorry. You're being dumb.
Oh.
And
I thought you were talking about the kid in the old town. Please put down my father.
No. That I thought that was like
a disobedient child.
Yeah. No, yeah, this is
the father hits the ground and you see the bouncy sponge.
Yeah, that's true. He's fine. There's a pad right there.
Oh, he landed on a mattress.
No, but the kid in Niagara,
he landed in that barrel as it's going over the falls.
More frustrating, Francisco, than the kid in Niagara?
Tell me, Paul.
Is that our society now, we can't have rails like that because kids could jump over them. And you know what? It's not the kid's fault anymore, according to society.
Yes.
It's the company's fault for making that rail accessible.
That is a OSHA violation if I've ever seen one.
And now we can't have nice things like that because parents are not taking responsibility. They blame others for their own fault.
Yeah, it's the kid's responsibility. And because the kid should have, gone the way of the dodo, the parents are responsible. It's not the polls, it's not Niagara Falls, it's not anything. He should have, if you want to do that poll thing, I get that. I did that as a kid. You do that on the non-waterfall side, kid. So use this noggin that God gave you. Come on.
Mm-hmm.
So so that's just a bonus.
Are you sure he had a noggin?
Sure.
Something in that noggin, I mean?
I'm sure there is, and apparently there's super noggins over in France, which is my first dislike, because everyone's speaking English and French all at the same time with no consistency about who's speaking what, where, when, why. The burglars are speaking English, and then sometimes French. The police are speaking French, but then sometimes English. And Lois Lane just speaks English, just how it happens to everyone, except for the French policeman who she tries to turn away with the translating book. It's just
like they made a movie for English-speaking people.
And that's fine. Just make everyone speak English with a British accent, which we all know is what people speak when they're in a foreign land, the British accent.
Star Trek proved this.
Exactly. So, I mean, pick a lane. Either have everyone speaking French and just give us subtitles, or just have everyone do English and like cheesy French accents, whatever. I'm not going to be upset at that, but that they're trying to like, let's have both. No. So I thought that was something too far. I can't think of the expression. A bridge too far, or a road too far, whatever the term is.
A railing too short.
The railing too short. Yes. Let's go to Paul. Why don't you give us one of your actual just normal dislikes now?
Unfortunately, I don't remember this happening as much on the original Superman. I'll have to rewatch it. But I felt the special effects really didn't hold up.
Hold on, I'm sorry. I gotta say this because I think this is so funny. Who will save Gen X in chat says, "Hi Noggin, should have been waterlogged." I thought that was funny.
Oh, that's great.
No one else is great, Francisco. No, go for it, Paul. So the special effects you're speaking.
Yeah, they don't hold up.
Yes,
at least for me, this
agreed.
way. A lot of the blue screen, there's the thick black lines around.
Yep.
And we've talked about this before. Other movies, when they do special effects, sometimes they will, and this movie did it too, they'll use 2D hand-drawn animation, like in the like Lightning,
like
or
Back to
whatever.
the Future or Ghostbusters.
Yeah,
those
right.
types. Yeah,
At that time,
it looks fantastic.
Yes.
The 2D effects in this look horrible.
Yeah.
The fire, the lightning, whenever they use 2D special effects, it was even worse than the blue screen. Like it was horrible.
Not good.
Whatever they got to use to do that, bad move.
Indeed. Let's go to Drew does the Cellcast, which is all about animation. Did the animation for this film was that also a dislike for you, or did something else make your dislike list?
It's not what stood out as a problem for me as badly.
As much as that Bill Cosby photo hanging in the
I didn't even see that.
Okay.
So, no, my second dislike for this is that most of the love story between Lois and Clark was slow and boring.
Yes.
Okay, now cue the music.
Sorry, that's the wrong one. Slow and boring.
There we go.
I mean, it's not quite as bad as Padme Anakin, but it ain't far from it.
Oh, wow.
I don't see it
every
either.
time that whole bit was going, I was like, can we go back to Zod or or Lex? Can Superman do something besides making out with Lois Lane, please?
Yeah.
I thought it was weird. Like she was in love with Superman, and then he gave up his powers, and he's no longer Superman.
Yeah, how
and
is she still in love with him?
That doesn't make sense.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I was like, then she's no longer in love with you. I mean, that's why in the comics they had her fall in love with Clark Kent.
That makes so much more sense.
But they have not had enough time within the movies so far at this point to even show that she's falling at all for the Clark side of his personality.
Yeah. Now, I think
a lot of that I don't buy, and if I can't buy the relationship, I don't care about the story.
Here, how I was struggling to headcanon the reason this might be is because when Clark was being duplicitous, when Superman was being duplicitous as Clark Kent and being all like just very like unsure and unconfident, I think because he was able to drop the lies and just be himself, maybe that's what Lois is really attracted to. It's not so much the Superman, it's just the like knowing who you are type of thing. Mm-hmm. I still feel like that's really a stretch. So, but that's
here's the thing. I can see Clark's side of this relationship, why he's in love with Lois. I can see that easy. I can see why Lois would be in love with Superman.
I don't see why she would be in love with him without
Clark enough
Yeah.
that when that reveal takes place and she figures it out, that transfers into, to a degree, she should still be angry at him for hiding this from her in the first place.
Well, it's to protect his identity.
Well, and I
Logic
think
rarely comes into play when it comes to love.
I suppose.
Well,
Especially in
think
movies.
It was a stretch for sure, but at the same time, the minute it is revealed, right? You know, he falls into the fire pit. You really are Superman, and he takes off his glasses. He is then talking to her, still dressed as Clark, but he's not fumbling over his words anymore.
Yeah,
he is
exactly.
just being himself. So and they didn't hash it out well enough in that moment. But yes, I think that is the moment where she's like, all right, I was in love with Clark. I was in love with Superman. They are one and the same. So it didn't turn into a, you liar, I hate you, how can you lie to me? It really was a revelation of I love this man who, and I think that was solidified. If you look at her face in the scene when he's talking to his AI mama and he says, yes, she'd do it, I love her. I think that was a pivotal moment even for her, being like, this is who I love. I'm selfless, self-sacrifice. That was the theme I said I liked in the beginning. This is the sacrificing person that I love.
Yeah.
I'm still saying though, it goes awful quick from, oh, you're Superman, to them lounging around in Superman's silvery bed for no good reason.
It was almost as quick as Anakin and Padme, falling in love. And
once again, this is not helping your case, because that's a love story I hate also.
Oh, I hate that one too.
I will work with how that works after that point, but the actual falling in love is where I have my problems.
Rolling down the hill in that movie didn't solidify for you that they are just so in love.
I mean,
by the way,
we all know Anakin's greatest line when it comes to how much he's in love with her says, I hate sand. It's coarse and rough. It gets everywhere.
Yes.
That's a great line. He's looking at her skin and how smooth it is.
So all that to say, I can see what they were going for in Superman 2. Even if they didn't hash it out well, I could see how
I can see where they're going for too, but it's that whole bit was like, can we do something else? Because this is boring. Well, in a way that a love scene shouldn't be boring.
Dustin, why don't you tell us maybe what bores you about Superman 2 with another dislike?
Okay.
This conversation.
Oh my gosh, Paul.
I didn't like how oblivious people were to the destruction and damage going on around during the massive Zod fight in the middle of town.
You mean in the city or the town or where?
In the city. You have Zod and his henchmen, Ursa and Nan wreaking havoc, and you still have someone trying to make a call on a payphone, someone coming out of the fast food restaurant.
What's going on out here?
There's literal explosions in cars happening, and there's still people just like, oh, we're just eating food today. There's just unrealistic oblivion to what's going on, and not just in that fight, but like even in the beginning when Clark gets hit by the car and the car is wrecked. You're in the middle of Metropolis, right? You're downtown. There's people all over, and nobody was like, that guy just put a dent in that car and he's walking. There's so much blatant obliviousness. To what's going on around that bothered me in the movie.
Well, I thought it was great that they didn't know that when Nan and Superman went under the sewers that they were actually getting beat up by the Ninja Turtles because they were so oblivious by it.
Yes.
I would
pay full price.
It really says something when the residents of Angel Grove seem to be more aware that they could die than the citizens of Metropolis.
I know who Angel Grove. What's Angel Grove?
Power Rangers.
Power Rangers. Oh. Come on, Francisco.
Come on. I know.
Sorry. There it is.
Okay, Power Rangers, let's do it.
So yeah, that bothered me. That people were just oblivious.
Yeah, no, I totally get that.
Lock on and fire.
I'll go with my next dislike, which
time.
Exactly, which is, and this goes back to, I guess this is love story adjacent, but how is it that the Fortress of Solitude has all these amenities that there doesn't seem to be a reason
for? You mean like a giant silver bed?
A giant silver bed, a table, dish, flatware, apparently seats. It's like, champagne
food.
flutes.
This is a bachelor pad. He spends time there.
Oh, why does he have seating for 2 then? If it's a bachelor pad,
It could have seating for 6 if the occasion calls for it.
where do these things come from? Is what I'm asking.
When Clark
In the
has to
comics,
bring,
he had Kryptonian robots as servers in the Fortress of Solitude.
when Clark and the boys have to have a bachelor's party night, this is where they go and have fun. So of course he's got plenty of amenities.
What do you
Puts a
think Justice
The boys
crystal
being
out?
Batman, Flash.
in the tubes,
I'm shaking
the
my head,
PVC
Gertrude
tubes,
Wonders.
and out comes anything you want. It's part of Krypton technology.
Krypton is magic. Do you not understand this?
Apparently, I don't. It bothered me. What do you want from me? Okay, so that's my dislike. So now let's get into our tragic makers, except for Paul, who has one more dislike. So, Paul, take it away. What's your one more dislike?
I thought the editing was weird. The flow of the movie was really weird to me as it went from the Clark and Lois's story to Lex and Miss Tessmacher, and then the 3 Phantom Zone villains. And it was like boom, 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 boom. Just as one was starting to get going, it would cut to another.
Is this
And I thought the
because of them trying to go from take what Richard Donner had done and change it?
Probably.
It's just 3 different stories going on at the same time. And I just thought the pacing and the cutting was too abrupt. It didn't flow well for me.
Okay.
I don't know if that's true for everyone else.
No, I noticed that. I could tell, like, oh, okay. I mean, I sort of assumed they were just trying to keep interest up, almost like a soap opera. It's like, oh, end on a like, oh, what's going to happen next? Oh, okay, now I need to go to this other point. What's going on with them? And just to keep the interest high, sort of in all the different stories. But I get what you're saying. But let's get into the rest of our tragic makers. And again, just to recap, Paul's tragic maker was that it was something really good that Dustin brought this powers, was it that?
Yeah,
all the different Superman powers.
Ridiculous.
Yes, that's
plethora of superpowers.
All right, good. We beat that horse dead. It's good. It's in the grave. So let's go to Drew next. What's your tragic maker for this film?
So I don't know a ton about the production of this movie. I know that Richard Donner had one vision, and then I guess it was getting too expensive, and they kicked him out and got this other guy to come in and finish the movie, and he had his own idea of how to do it. Not
really, but okay.
I'm estimating here.
Well, the narrative that's on the commentary of Superman 2, I don't know. I have to listen to the Donner cut one. Is that he didn't want to work? They invited him back. And he's like, hey, is this producer going to be on here? They said, well, yeah. They're like, then I'm not. So he's out.
Pretty much.
All I know is that some of what Richard Donner did was available. Otherwise, they couldn't have made a Richard
because
Donner
they were filming Superman 1 and 2 together, just like this same executive producing team. They had done 3 Musketeers and the 4 Musketeers. They'd done it at the same time, so they were following that model. So then he was like, hey, if Pierre Spengler is going to be here, I'm not. All
I thought
right.
it was the Salkinds.
No, the Salkinds are executive producers in it.
Uh-huh.
But Pierre Spengler is another producer. He works with them.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
They're like a team.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah, they're not going to break up the team for a director.
My suspicion is that anytime I see where it looks like they spent money on the production, that has to be Richard Donner's footage. And anytime they tried to be cheap, which there's a lot of cheap in this film, that had to have been the new director. I can't remember his name. I apologize. Richard Lester. Because there are moments where it's like for instance, at the beginning when the Zod and Ursa and Non, they're stealing whatever the MacGuffin is there that they get trapped for.
The red crystal.
It's very obvious that they're standing in front of
blue screen.
I don't even know if it's a blue screen. It looks like it's actually rear projected.
I was just about to say projected. Yeah.
That's what it looks like. And it's not even done very well. At the very end, it's very when they're showing Superman flying the top of the White House dome with the flag on it back in. You can tell that that is cut right on a still shot of the White House. It's not video footage that's looped. It's obviously a photograph. The set design of the Niagara Falls hotel room looks like a high school drama department could have built a better set.
I
Did you
think
see
they
those
did that
flames?
on purpose, though,
They look so good.
to show the chintziness.
Yeah, that's why I thought
There
too.
was that building, that room had no walls. It just had black curtains, like a stage play set.
I seem to remember walls, but okay, that's fine. So there
were some, but there was a lot of times where it's like, oh look, the big patio doors, they're just in the middle of these curtains, and I'm looking, going, the last time I saw something like that, I was in one act play competition in high school.
Did you win?
No.
Oh, come on.
But what I'm getting at is, like, there's certain points in this film where it's like the special effects are spot on where they want to be. They're not great, mind you, but they're about what they were doing in Superman 1. Mm-hmm. So I can kind of let that go because it's within continuity. And then there's times where it's like, oh wow, y'all really cut the budget in the last half of your post production, didn't you?
Maybe that's one of the reasons why Donner didn't want to work with them, because
and maybe that's the case. I don't know. It's just it was so much.
Yeah, the production level.
The production quality was so back and forth. Half of it looked like it was a blockbuster film. The other half looked like it was fodder for Mystery Science Theater 3000.
Oh wow!
At least that's how it felt to me.
Okay,
maybe Riff Tracks is a bit nicer for me to say than MST3K, but oh man, it's just that threw me so stinking much. Mm-hmm. Every time I saw what looked like them cutting a corner. Mm-hmm. It just threw me back out of the film, and that's usually when I got bored and started looking at my phone.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, interesting.
Is because I was not being kept in with the movie. I had to remind myself how Zod and them finally got beaten at the end, because I couldn't quite remember that it was just, oh yeah, they showed the red light that was in this thing on the outside, and that meant it was Red Sun.
That's right.
That's like, I get that, it's clever. At the same time, it's like, I was so bored by this point, I didn't care.
Curtains.
I was getting pulled out of the film because of the cheapness of half of the production.
All right.
But at least it felt like cheapness to me.
That's a problem with the film. I could see why that would be such an issue for sure. But let's see. I'm going to go next because we sort of talked around my Tragic Maker. Then we'll end with Dustin. So you're going to have to go hard in the paint for us, Dustin. But my Tragic Maker is just really that end fight scene. It just takes too long. It goes on and on and on in the city, mainly in New York.
Okay.
It's like the whole blowing scene.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, cut that in half, please. It just does not need to. You're not a comedy. I don't need to see people like falling over. Oh, it's so zany.
They had to get their fried chicken receipt and phone call in though.
Yeah. It was that was too much. I loved the whole putting the fight between Superman and Non, like I think Drew was saying, underground in the theater of the mind. I thought that was great. I thought more of that could have been even done or used that as like the main thing. But then there are other things we talked about where Non was trapped under the tower. That didn't make sense. The tower falling just previous to that, and this woman. And I get that there's flight or fight or freeze, but it's like she's looking up at it for like, I don't know, 30 seconds, and she can't decide. Oh, maybe I should just move. Maybe I should just try to run away. No, I'm just gonna stay. I guess, yeah. So,
by the way, that whole Wendy scene, Who Will Save Generation X says that scene blows.
So just there, and also I forget who mentioned this, but the choreography. I know that we didn't have great superhero fights back then, but I mean, kung fu movies were a thing with really fun choreography. True. So it's like
had that.
You could do something more than what you're doing. It's just I don't know. It just felt underwhelming and too long for what it was. I mean,
Superman's not a kung fu master. He's a brute strength master. Come on.
Well, okay.
You could still shoot it in that way and it would still be fun to watch.
Here's what I mean.
Rocky Kent was around this time, wasn't it?
Yes, I think Rocky was.
So I mean,
late 70s, yeah. So anyway, all that to say, too long. My Tragic Maker, that final fight scene. Not a great way to climax your movie. But let's.
He ain't gonna be in Rush Hour 3.
Dustin closes out for us with your Tragedy Maker.
All right. So, being the Superman lover that I am, like I said before,
Are you Lois Lane?
Always been my yes.
Or Lana Lang.
He's always been my favorite superhero ever. Like, I absolutely love Superman. This movie did something that was controversial then, and it's still argued about today.
Ooh.
The killing of the 3 people at the end of the movie. The killing of Zod, Non.
We don't
They're
see
not
them
killing.
die.
They're taking ice naps.
I snapped permanently.
They're just falling perpetually.
Technically,
Falling
he only took
forever
out
into
Zod
the
and
death.
Non. It was Lois Lane who
took out
knocked Ursa down into the pits.
Lois took out Ursa. Non killed himself trying to fly, and but he did throw Zod, against the wall and
and
slid
he
him
went
into
down.
oblivion.
And he has an ice pack on his broken finger.
But all that to say, in the comics, Superman's rule, his big rule is he will never kill.
Oh, okay.
And there was an issue where he does kill, and it wrecks him. Like he exposes people to their native sun, and it kills them by accident. Like he doesn't know it's going to kill him, and it does. And it's this huge arc of him overcoming. I just killed 3 people.
Yeah.
I can't believe I did that. It was a major turning point for him where he reiterated, I'll never do that again. Like I'll never go down to those drastic measures.
Unless it's Zod. He has a thing for killing Zod. Sorry.
And I'll talk about
it twice.
I'll talk about the Man of Steel. I'll talk about the Man of Steel, how they did it. I think Man of Steel did it better for a reason.
I will agree with that.
But in this movie, it's a blatant. You have them overpowered. They are human. There's all you literally can just use your super speed. You can wrap them up in any way you want and be like, I'm taking you and Lex back to prison now. After you give the obligatory, let me punch you in the face because you've killed people and you've wrecked things.
Yeah, exactly.
But that's when you wrap them up in your big cellophane.
Your cellophane. But he doesn't, and all 3 of them die. And so the Superman lover in me, even as a kid, knew that. It's like, he doesn't do that.
No, they slide down to a Kryptonian jail underneath.
Now,
you don't know what's down there.
The reason I say Man of Steel did that scene better was Zod. He had Zod in the headlock, and Zod's like, "Fine, try and save him," and he's about to kill a few humans. And you see Superman trying to stop him, and he gets to that point where he realizes the only way I can stop Zod is by doing this. There is no other way.
Kobayashi Maru scenario.
Yeah. And then
There's
after
no way to win.
And after he kills him, you see Superman's torment right there. Like it wasn't just wow, that was a hard fight. It's the anguish he had for, I just crossed the line I should not have crossed.
If only he had saved his father from the tornado. He could have given him advice.
That movie has other problems, but
But won't go to that. I really, really, really enjoyed Man of Steel. Aside from a couple things, there were some things in there, but as a movie as a whole, I like that. But we're not reviewing that one right now.
No.
But Superman 2, that it bothered me that they blatantly killed Zod the way they did, because they didn't make it this is necessary moment.
It wasn't really earned.
His character.
Yeah.
Right. It was just hey, you have no powers. You're dead. You're dead. I was like, wow.
So,
wow.
Dustin, you said Superman is your most favorite superhero of all time.
Yes.
If he was called to the stand in front of the judge and you were on the witness stand and you had to pass judgment on his actions, would you agree with the rest of the people saying
guilty,
guilty?
I don't think the witnesses pass judgment, Paul. That'd be the jurors.
Yeah, that too. You know what I mean. There are no witnesses because you know what? You're innocent until proven guilty in the Fortress of Solitude as well.
I thought you were going to say there are no witnesses because everyone on Krypton is dead. There's no one to testify.
Well, and Lois forgot, but he didn't kiss Gene Hackman, so he knows.
Oh my gosh, that's my tragic.
Lex Luthor knows that Superman kills.
They nailed the sacrifice theme of Superman, being the selfless hero that he is. But they absolutely botched his morality at the end of the movie.
No,
are you saying that he sacrificed his morals when he killed Zod?
Nope, he compromised his morals. There's a difference.
Fair enough.
As a kid, I never got that, and even then, as an adult, I'm like, Does it matter?
Well, you know what, Paul? Now's the time, I think, to find out if this movie actually matters. Oh, but you know what? There's one more thing I forgot.
One more thing
that I disliked. Margot Kidder, not good. What's up with that? I mean, Karen Allen's right there. I know. What are you doing? What are you doing over here, people? Okay, that's so dumb. I might edit that out. But now it's time for
What do you hate about Margot Kidder so much?
Oh gosh, don't get me started. I mean, just her like, it's Superman. I bet so much that I don't know. She sounds like an old person to me. All the smoking, or I don't know what it is, and she's just like, oh, let me type. She just bothers me so much.
Don't speak ill of the dead. That's just rude.
Oh, is she dead?
Yes,
she died in like 2018, I think.
Well, good. Then she'll never hear this.
Wow!
You gotta edit that out.
I'm not saying good she's dead. I'm just saying never mind.
Womp womp.
You already stepped in that bucket. Let's just move on.
Don't dig any deeper. Just move on to the next one.
Let's dig into the things, into our our final reigns. We've entered all our trajectories into the firing computer. Alice, do you have a firing solution for us?
Firing solution complete. Rating salvo armed and ready to fire on your mark.
All right, it's time for the moment of truth for Superman 2, aka how Francisco loses old friends and makes new enemies. So do we rate Superman 2 a classic? We'd recommend anyone go see this movie, whether or not they've seen it before. A nostalgic, it's worth watching again if you enjoyed it as a kid or you're a fan of Superman. Yeah, watch this again. It'll be fun. But if you've never seen it before, go watch maybe another superhero movie. Or do we rate it a tragic? It's not worth anyone's time today in 20XX. If you've never seen it before, keep it that way for sure. And if you have seen it before, don't sully any maybe good memories you have of it with a rewatch. So we'll begin with our guests as we like to. Let's start with Drew. You had predicted nostalgic. Where did Superman 2 end up for you?
On the last episode of Retro Rewind I was on, it was Star Trek V, The Final Frontier. And on that one, I mentioned that Star Trek V is my brown standard. It's where when I'm judging a film, whether I say it's bad or good or not, is depending on whether I think it's better or worse than Star Trek V. Mm-hmm. And with that criteria in place, I have to say that Superman II is a nostalgic film.
Nostalgic, okay.
Because it is better than Star Trek V.
I can agree with. Well, we'll get.
So wait, so there's no tragics except for Star Trek V? Is that what you're saying?
There are other films that I consider worse than Star Trek V.
Oh, I see.
And
that's
not
the
one of
tipping
them.
Pivot point.
That's the tipping point. Okay.
Yes.
I see.
It's right there. It's like it can either be nostalgic or tragic.
That's a tragtalgic movie.
Exactly.
It's nostalgic. Yes.
Oh my goodness. Okay,
But
so
this one purely nostalgic.
Okay. All right. Purely nostalgic for Drew. Dustin, you had predicted classic. Did it stay classic for you or did it get knocked down? You get hit against the ice wall and drop down like Zod.
Did Superman kill me the way he killed Zod? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
He'll kick you to the curb like Zod. All right.
Have you become the ruler of Australia?
Oh my gosh. Lex Luthor. I would say, after watching this movie, I'm going to keep my classic rating.
Whoa.
Sorry,
I'm going to keep
I don't
it.
think I heard you right. I think you said you're going to tragic?
He said Margot Kidder is a classic Lois Lane.
Oh, jeez. Okay.
That's what I heard.
I'm going to keep it. And again, so watching this, looking at the things that are wrong with the movie, special effects not holding up, the way they killed Zod, the things we said wrong, I still look back at it and think, when this came out, 1980, 1981, and watching it as a kid, so having those memories of it, going back and watching it, I still really enjoyed the movie, just sitting down, smiling and watching. And it's
okay.
My daughter walked in as I was watching it, said, "What's this?" I was like, "This is Superman 2." When I was a kid, watch it, and she was smiling at some of the parts on it.
Oh, fun.
And she's seen the newer ones, the Man of Steel, and I am so excited for the Superman movie coming out. Like I am.
Oh, yes.
I'm
there.
so over the top excited for this movie. But even watching this, I still think if you look at all the Superman stuff that they've done, this is one to go back and watch. Absolutely.
Okay. All right. So classic for
I would say classic.
All right. Now we usually go to our reflexive pastors, but it seems like maybe none of you guys, I appreciate you guys who support the show, sticking to the rules. And if you haven't seen the last couple of years, you don't vote because of that, we had no ratings from you guys. So it'll be completely dictated by this panel. So let's go to Paul next. You had predicted classic, much like Dustin. Where did it end up for you?
Well, for those who are not watching the video, I am wearing a Superman shirt, and this is not the Fleischer one. This logo, this Superman logo.
Is the Fleischer one
not
the black, that's like a S on a black field?
No, we reviewed the Fleischer ones with the animated shorts with Geek Devotion.
I know, but I'm just saying. I thought it was like red S, black background instead of yellow background. That's all.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the black suit.
No. Just the emblem of the S is on a black field instead of on a yellow field. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
I'm looking it up. Yes, that has the black S with the black background with the red S.
Oh,
yes.
So you might say I was right.
Yes, but not about Margot Kidder. Anyway.
Well, a broken clock is right twice a day.
Right. But this
you guys.
This logo that I'm wearing is not the Brandon Routh version. This is not the Henry Cavill version or later versions, whatever. This is the Superman I grew up with, which is which Christopher Reeve wore.
Popularized.
So my nostalgic goggles are so strong in this that I just have to rate it a classic. I recommend anyone watch it.
Let's go.
It's not my fault. You're not gonna rate it a classic.
No,
either.
you guys can.
And I would tag on, of the 4 Christopher Reeves, this still stands as my favorite one.
Oh, boom.
Oh, your favorite one. Okay. That's
of
fair.
the 4. This is my favorite of his.
Okay,
4.
that's fair. I can't dispute.
Of the 2 I've seen, I prefer the first one.
I thought you were just going to say blatantly, this is the best one, but no, if this is your preferred one, I can't dispute that. All right. So now it's time for, we have a nostalgic and 2 classics. So yeah, we'll see where this ends up. For me, Francisco, I predicted nostalgic, and there's certainly lots of things to like, lots of things not to like. I think though, Dale sort of said it well. He said, Superman II is better than Star Trek V. And if you don't recall, I had rated Star Trek V, much like Drew, a tragic. So Superman II, definitely better than Star Trek V, but not better enough to make it a tragic, because this movie is dumb.
Wow.
It's just dumb.
Wow.
There are things
This coming from the guy who raved about the computer in Superman 3.
Yeah, because that is a better villain. That is a better villain. These villains could have just destroyed Superman. If they teamed up and actually just like went in on him, they would have been done. But no, they're like, oh, let's just zap him with our fingers. Oh, he got back at us. Okay, well, we'll take him one at a time. No, you dogpile. Come on. Agent Smith knew
for 24 hours.
What? What was that?
They'd been super powered for 24 hours. They didn't know what they were capable of yet.
By the way, for the villain in Superman 3,
I'd piss on a spark plug if I thought it'd do any good.
Is it really a supervillain if you can just throw a Trojan virus at it and hey, we finished it?
That according to
it worked for
Independence
Mission
Day, yes.
Independence Day, yeah. Welcome to Earth.
Look, the Superman 3 computer, not Brainiac villain, freaked me out as a kid and still does today, and would have destroyed Superman if he hadn't have thought ahead, which is I liked in this, that he thought ahead and got the turned the thing around on the 3 baddies, just like he brought the acid with him before in Superman 3. Spoilers for Superman 3. I forget how Superman 4 ends. I feel like that's just a fisticuffs. But
credits.
What? Credits?
It ends with credits.
Credits. He
Much
throws
like
Atomic
that
Man
joke,
in
I
a
rate Superman 2 a tragic.
nuclear
So
cube.
we'll end there. But according to the Retro Rewind podcast, because with two classics, a nostalgic and a tragic, the majority tends to rule. So we rate Superman 2 a disputed classic film. We'd recommend anyone go see
Justice
this,
for Superman.
whether or not you've seen it before. But now it's time to get back to our own time. Good old 20XX.
ComSat online, awaiting incoming transmissions.
20XX.
Thank you. Feels good to be back, but we wouldn't have been able to travel back to 1980 to begin with if it weren't for our amazing reflux capacitors, namely Deborah Powers, Geek Devotions, Drew of the Cellcast. Oh, you're right here.
Hey.
Woohoo! Ashley Ruiz, Kennethan, Fabulous Lomax, That's Our Bobo, D. Tungsten, Daryl Hafner, Cool Deluxe, Dustin, He's a Big Deal, Warford. Oh, you're here too. Woohoo! Flux, Redeemed Otaku, in addition to two other awesome patrons as well. Thank you all so much for keeping the gigawatts coming. And if you want to help us keep flying and get bonus content for your generosity, head over to retrorewindpodcast.com/support or firejoystudios.com/support to start.
In the Hall of Heroes are assembled the world's greatest supporters, the Rad Rewinders. Their mission to ensure the continuing adventures of the Retro Rewind podcast. Meanwhile, the city is safe for now with the support of PaulJPowers.com.
Yeah, Paul J. Powers.
All right. Hey, so Francisco.
Yes.
We really are appreciative of all of our super supporters.
Indeed.
But are there any free ways that people can support us?
Yeah, I mean, if your highways are clogged, definitely check out the freeways. That's the best way to travel. I mean, maybe side streets will work too. It depends on
if super phones are just glowing for extenuous amounts of time.
Exactly. No, but there are some definitely free options for you if you can't support the podcast. Totally get that. If you enjoyed this episode, and I assume you did if you made it this far, and you aren't driving, tap the share icon on your podcast player and send it to one of your friends saying, I know you like Superman or Superman 2, so I thought you might like this podcast about it. That's a great way of sharing this podcast with your friends.
If you are driving, pull over, park, and then do everything Francisco just said.
Unless you're on the freeway. That'd probably be
You
a
might
little
want to exit.
Exit the freeways to get on the freeways to support the podcast.
Any way you support us, we thank you. And I'll bet the people that you send this to will thank you as well.
Indeed.
And speaking of thank you people, we want to give a big super hug to Drew Dodgen and Dustin Warford for supporting us with their thoughts about Superman I. And since we like to go alphabetical, let's start with Drew. How can people find you online? Is there anything cool that they should check out?
So yeah, I co-host the Cellcast podcast. We review animated movies and television shows, and we did actually just recently review a Batman Superman film called Battle of the Super Sons. So go back and check that out. And then during our animated series segment, we are reviewing currently all of Batman the animated series from the 90s.
Nice.
So go enjoy that. But other than that, I am on Tuesday nights, I am playing Kingdom Hearts and explaining how all that lore kind of fits together. So yeah, come hang out with me on those things.
Very, very cool.
I'll get those episodes released eventually.
Oh, nice. And sounds like it's a big deal. Speaking of big deals, Dustin, where can people find you online, and where can they look forward to checking out?
Well, I think if you just Google my name, it all pops up right there because I'm that big of a deal.
Nice.
But if your search engine is failing you, you can find me just on Facebook, Dustin Warford. I'm on there because I'm a boomer and I'm old and I still have Facebook.
Right? Sorry, I meant that about me too.
I'm on Instagram at Ghetto Kids Preacher because I spent much of my ministry years as a children's pastor. And if you go to CC Puyallup, which is always fun to hear people try and pronounce when they see it, ccpwallop.com. That is my church's website, and you'll find sermons that I've done and kind of what we're doing up here in Washington, South Hill area in Puyallup.
And you guys usually live stream your sermons, right? Or is that
Sundays at 10? We live stream every Sunday at 10, and then it live streams to that website and also our Facebook site, Celebration Church on Facebook. It streams there, and our website. If you click on sermons, they're all uploaded to YouTube as well at the same day.
Awesome.
Nice. So you're a
Pacific
YouTuber.
time, I assume.
What's that?
At Pacific time, I assume.
Pacific time, yes.
Oh, what's
10 a.m.
Pacific time? Oh, 10 a.m.
10 a.m. Pacific time.
All right.
So thank you again so much, Drew and Dustin and my super friend Paul and all your rewinders, new and old, for another fun voyage. We also want to thank Alutrick for enhancing our music. Find him at alutrick.bandcamp.com or youtube.com/@Alutrick. That's spelled ALLOOUTRICK, then the number 8266 for the YouTube. So thank you so much to him.
And speaking of websites, I am pauljpowers.com. You can find me and all my social media links at pauljpowers.com.
.com indeed. And you can find me on our Discord for show announcements or just to say hi. Join us there at retrorewindpodcast.com/Discord to get all the links to the Discord and other social media.
But Paul one day is just going to be like, find me at pauljpowers.com. You can go to pauljpowers.org, and there I am.
Not yet.
.gov.edu.
Reminds me of that one Homestar Runner video. It's .com.
Okay, I'm going to play the Culture Box promo now, guys.
Uh-huh.
This podcast is a proud member of Culture Box, a curated collection of podcasts, videos, and articles that will provide you a balanced meal of content. You will find culture celebrated for its past and future, satirized for its extremes, explored in study, and created anew in story. Point your web browser to culturebox.media.
And as General Zod, who is not dead, just said,
oh, good.
As he just said, we are now part of the Culture Box Media Network. Find all the shows unpacking truth through story, comedy, and geekery at Superman is Cool. No, at culturebox.media.
Yes, except Superman 2 is not cool. Listen to me, folks.
I believe our final rating just said it is quite cool.
But thank you, EXO, and thank you for listening. We pray you are more joyful today than when you first hit play. But like a Pokemon, we got to catch you all for our next adventure on the Retro Rewind Podcast.
Retro Rewind mission complete. Proceed to base to await next mission.
Destroy this place.
Hi, guys. Sorry,
We have no more use for this one. Kill him.
Me?